Should be topic number 5 is this is the woman who they were defending after getting 2 people killed in Mexico. This is your queen? Do we blame black man for this? You know, when it's written like that, you know who posted that. This came with a link. This was the first topic last week, but it didn't work.
First edition this Monday, one of the 2 Mexican drivers was arrested Friday night in Myrtle Beach for an incident that happened prior to arrest warrants we got. Show McGee's child went to an unnamed location to find another child in February, but was removed from that location by family members. Police arrested McGee after they say she took her child back to the location and began fighting with the victim and her family. McGee was part of a group that was kidnapped when they traveled to Mexico in March for what the group said was a cosmetic procedure. Eric Williams also survived the kidnapping. Zindell Brown and Shaid Woodard were both killed. All 4 are Lake City natives. The group was found at a wooden shack and taken back to the United States.
Reports say that Latavia Washington McGee is charged with contributing to the delinquency of a minor. The incident happened back in February involving a group of girls that were not identified in the report and multiple fights. It's unclear exactly what role.
One of the 2 Mexico kidnapping survivors was arrested Friday night in Myrtle Beach for an incident that happened prior to arrest warrants we got. Show McGee's child went to an unnamed location to find another child in February, but was removed from that location by family members. Police arrested McGee after they say she took her child back to the location and began fighting with the victim and her family. McGee was part of a group that was kidnapped when they traveled to Mexico in March for what the group said was a cosmetic procedure. Eric Williams also survived the kidnapping. Zindell Brown and Shaid Woodard were both killed. All 4 are Lake City natives. The group was found at a wooden shack and taken back to the United States.
Reports say that Latavia Washington McGee is charged with contributing to the delinquency of a minor. The incident happened back in February involving a group of girls that were not identified in the report and multiple fights. It's unclear exactly what role Washington McGee played in leading up to her being charged, but Washington McGee's lawyer says Myrtle Beach police allowed her to spend time with her family after returning from Mexico before making the arrest. She was one of those 4 victims traveling south of the border last month, was kidnapped by a Mexican drug cartel. Eric Williams also survives. Zindell Brown and Shaid Woodard were killed.
One of the 2 who made national attention for surviving a kidnapping in Mexico last month was arrested Friday in Myrtle Beach. Latavia Washington McGee was charged with the delinquency of a minor after she allegedly took her daughter to Spivey Street to fight another child in February. According to a police incident report, the child was removed from the location by other family members. That was the second fight that day with the people involved. The report said a mother involved pulled a small black pistol from her purse and started waving it around. The report said it's unclear if this was McGee. Thanks for watching Shotgun 2.
Okay, that video was kind of strange. My apologies for restarting. I wasn't looking at the screen. I thought it went to another story. And now the video has ended, but there's just nothing going on here. So I don't know what's up. But Shooter Breeze topic number 5. This is the woman who they were defending after getting 2 people killed in Mexico. This is your queen? Do we blame black men for this? Carl, I'll start with you this time. What say you to this?
Well, I don't think that you can blame black men for this. I'm able to walk and chew bubble gum. 2 things can be possible. This woman being kidnapped in Mexico was a tragedy, and 2, she likes to do hood rat things with her friends. So I mean, I don't think that black people don't have to be perfect to garner our sympathy. There's nobody perfect out here. So what she did, fighting her kid, taking her kid to get in a fight with another kid, that's ridiculous. That's I can't co-sign that. But at the same time, do black people have to be perfect before we can sympathize with them? Do they have to be perfect before we can support them? So I'm not saying this woman was right. I know what she did was wrong, and she should be punished for it. But that doesn't take away from the fact she was kidnapped in Mexico and two people died. You know, and I don't blame her for that. She went to get cosmetic surgery, something that people do all the time. So what happened was an unfortunate accident. I don't blame her for that. Um, but with that said, black people don't have to be perfect for us to support them. Whenever a black person gets killed by the cops or attacked, they want to say, "Oh, my child was perfect. He didn't get in any trouble. He was a straight A student. If he was he could have been a C and D student. I mean, he still should have been murdered. What happened with our brother on the subway? Yeah, he got arrested 40 times. In many places, homelessness is criminalized. You can go to jail for sleeping on outside, for urinating outside. So who knows how he picked up those 40 charges? Does he have to be perfect for us to support him? No. So I think that what this lady did was wrong. That was some hood shit, and she shouldn't have did it. But at the same time, it doesn't take away from the fact that she was a victim. And I don't want to. There's nothing to blame black men for. If anything, blame the Mexicans who shot at people. Those are the people we need to blame. Let's keep it focused on the people who actually did the shit. So I don't think this woman should, we should still support her. I still think what happened was an accident, and I still think she was involved in some hood rat shit, and she should have did it. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Foku.
Thank you, Carl. Um, let's go to Jose. Jose, do you remember the story?
I remember. The story in Mexico. I don't remember this story from February. Where
No. The Mexico story is what I was talking about. This is the same woman from the
yes,
Mexico.
yes. I remember that story, and together with this story, Carl, I'm sorry. Most of the times, I'm 100% with you. I feel you, but today, I'm 180 degrees, man.
That's all right, man. It's okay. We all mess up sometimes.
I see this. I see this as an answer about what happened in Mexico. I'm sorry. I'm going, as they say here, short around the corner, right? And I'm turning. I'm going left with this. This is what to me most probably has cost two lives in Mexico. This loud let me just name it, this loud American behavior, like you come somewhere and you rule, and everywhere is America. So I'm not pointing a finger, but it's actually Americans are a victim of America, right? You don't actually realize how much of a mannequin and how much of the American population is being used to program the rest of the world. So for an American, when an American leaves the border, leaves the country, he or she doesn't really notice. This is imagination, right? But I think I have a point. So right now I'm explaining the so-called arrogance of Americans, but I don't think it's always arrogance. It's more like victims that don't realize that the world is just as American as America is. So an American outside of his border doesn't really notice that he's outside of his border. So he thinks everything works like in America, right? So yeah, in America you can have a loud mouth, and in cartel country you can't, And I believe I'm hearing a confirmation. I'm sorry, I'm hearing a confirmation of what I thought back then, and it's obviously the our friend from Haiti is sarcastic. Obviously, he is sarcastic with the title, but I feel the title 100%. We are not critical of our sisters, mothers, daughters, and I mean not critical like punishing them, but we are not critical in our care, right? We don't care enough about the emotional and mental state of our women. Is my point, and I with this approach I actually arrived where our Haitian friend also is. I'm not happy about how we deal with mental and emotional issues in our. We tend to still support our women like 100%, like they are still the backbone of our families, and they're not. That's all.
Thank you for that, Jose. Yeah, I feel you on that. I posted a prompt, not a prompt. I posted on the community tab this screenshot of a video. There was a I didn't follow the story too tough. We didn't talk about it on Shoot the Breeze, but there was a black man somewhere out here who went on like a shooting spree, and the mother is blaming it on the father. Why wasn't the father there? Now I agree. We all know fathers need to be there, but you were there. Shame on the father for not being there, but you were there.
Yes,
What did you?
she was there frustrating him, and that's my point for my whole damn life. And that's where I dedicated my life to until I really got tired. And that's these boys, on the street corner, protecting a street corner because they cannot protect it home. In home, there's another man, their mother, the boss.
Yeah. So this idea that let's just the burden is on the men 100%, and there's no accountability, no culpability. I don't like that with us, man. I don't like that with us. These women can be held accountable too. What were you teaching that kid? What were you allowing that kid to do? But anyway,
Or how sick were you making him? How
right.
sick were you making him with your sickness? So I'm not pointing a finger, but what kind of village do we have that we let our females rot and die?
And we're not accounting for it. That's the big problem. We're not accounting for it. The women can just do whatever, it seems, and the burden is on the men at the end of it. I mean, come on, man. But anyway, that was Jose. I appreciate that, Jose. Let me hear from Tezzy on this one. Tezzy, what say?
Yeah, I think okay, my perspective is when it comes to us as African people, I think we need to address our mental health issues as what they are. I think sometimes we put gender. I think maybe if we took the aspect of gender out of it and just saw the issue as mental health, maybe we'll come up with probably much more maybe feasible solutions. Because yeah, I don't know, maybe next time you'll have it here, but there was a crazy situation just a few weeks ago where a lady in Kenya, like she ate her own child, like literally ate her own child, like killed and ate her own child, like. So, and things like this have been popping out all over Africa. Situations like this where people are suffering from a little mental health issues. So I feel like sometimes it becomes less, if we remove the gender part of it and we saw it as somebody maybe who was suffering from mental health issues, maybe you can explore what's been happening through their life, and I don't know, stuff like that. I think we might come up with solutions that might be even more effective than blaming it on maybe black women, or blaming it on black men, or blaming it on African men, African women, just general. Instead, okay, that's my point basically.
Thank you for that,
Man, this
brother.
broad ain't got no mental issue. This broad is just a hood rat. She ain't got no damn mental issues.
Yeah, you sounded like my boy out there in the chat when Jose was talking. He put the name on it. Um, let's hear from Oni on this one. Oni, what say you?
Yeah, I'm gonna say like I don't see the I don't see the relevance. You know, um, she got arrested after some incident. Like, so what? You know what I mean? Like, people get arrested every day, all the time. Um, uh, is she doing something that I wouldn't do? Sure. Um, but like, I don't really see the relevance. I don't see I don't see what we're supposed to get from this. You know what I mean? Um, like, you do a crime after you're kidnapped, I guess. Like, so what? Like, what was she I don't get it. Was she supposed to like become I guess Christian term, was she supposed to become a saint? Was she supposed to become an angel? Like, what is somebody supposed to glean from, oh, this lady um got into a fight, like her daughter got into a fight and she decided to back up her daughter? Like, what about it? You know what I mean? Some people, like, unfortunately, we live in a time where, like, yeah, the morals, if you will, or the are either are seemingly eroded, or they're just bad, right? um and or we're being more exposed to the negative and poor and those sort of elements. But like, so what? You know what I mean? Like, I don't really fully grasp, like what is the prompt even saying? Like what is it even saying? Don't defend this lady because she's she gets into school level fights. Like, she gets into high school fights. Like, I don't get it. Who's even defending? Like, it's not even about defending her. It's literally, she was kidnapped. Like, I don't fully understand what's being asked here. You know, maybe, I mean, but I don't know if it's too important to explain. But I don't really see the point here.
I think, and I'll let the person who posted it speak to it. I think the idea is we're looking at the character. I think it's supposed to be like a composition of the character of this person. And this person leads 5 black men to go to Mexico, a cartel haven, a part of Mexico, to get a BBL, which most of us, or many of us, when we had the original conversation, was like, that's stupid shit, right? And now, and then she comes back and, after getting 2 men killed, comes back and does this shit. I think that, if I had to guess, I think that is what the prompt is referring to. In the meantime, I guess let me go to Buana, and then I'll let you guys comment after Azuli does. Go ahead, Buana.
Okay, so for me, I have a different kind of messaging because I understand Zuli. I understand where you're coming from. And I mean, because when you see things like this, you want to say, man, F these bees, what I mean, they hopeless. They, as my brother would say, they state property. They ain't really worth nothing. Forget about them. But I see, I'm a guy, VA. You know what I mean? And I also read the people like Malcolm X, who used to be Detroit Red. Now, I ain't comparing the sister to Detroit Red. I ain't comparing her to Malcolm X whatsoever. But she may be a misguided black woman, but she's still our black woman. She could be state property, but the duty is on us. If we have the ability, and we may not, maybe someone else has the ability, but it's the duty is on us who claim to be able to see a little bit further, to convince people like her otherwise, convince her of the alternative. convince it to live an alternative way. And I understand you can't live in a cancer without being affected by that cancer. And people say, well, she don't suffer from mental illness. Carl say she don't suffer from mental illness. She has a hood rat. Yes, she suffers from mental illness. The society is mentally ill. So of course she gonna suffer from the society mental illness because she live in that society, you know. But the duty is on us, black men and black women, who who may be able to understand that life could be lived in a different kind of way, to convince the people who we consider to be our people, to say, well, I know you looking at the world like that, but how about looking at the world like this? How about trying it out this way? And some are gonna be convinced. Some may never be convinced. You know what I mean? There's many times I say, I think to myself, my F this YouTube business. You know what I mean? F this YouTube business. But we have an agreed responsibility. People who come together every Saturday night to problem solve, to to if we could, to assist our people in a different kind of way and manner, not only point to the problem, but try to.
Juan, I think you cut out there. I don't know if you were done.
Can you hear me, Coco?
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Finish
Yeah,
with it.
yeah. So the duty is on us to see if we can present another way, another fashion, in terms of how our people exist on this planet. You know what I mean? And there is another way, and if presented with another way, some of our people may be convinced. Some of our people can say, "The hell with you, N word, get the hell away from me." I mean, I try to convince Willie all the time, even though he's cussed me out and called me the N word. But he's come back though. He's come back to the truth degrees. You know what I mean? So I don't think that I don't want to take the position that our people are hopeless. I think that we make horrible decisions and make horrible mistakes. But I can still try, because at the end of the day, who else? Who else we got? If it's all we got, if we all we got, who else we got? You think the Chinese gonna be of more of assistance to us, or the white community, or the Jewish community? You know, man, you have to deal with the people how they are, even though they ugly, even though they ignorant, even though they backwards. The duty and the onus is on us to try, at least try to convince our people of the alternative. If you can't, who you could convince, you convince. Who you can't convince, it is what it is. But at least try, you know what I mean? But I'll stop there.
Juana, can I tell you something that a lot of people probably wouldn't like? I think the example of Malcolm X is overused. I think we sit up and we allow any old jackass to do any old bullshit in our community, and we say, well, we got to give him a chance. To me,
Agreed.
to me,
Agreed.
thank you.
Bars.
To me, if Malcolm Little had died, right, being a degenerate in the streets in Boston and all that, so be it. He died. You understand? Luckily for us, he didn't. But this over dependence on this idea of Malcolm X and what he became, how many people are doing this thing? And how long we gotta wait for this degenerate carrying out this degenerate bullshit in our community before they have this change? You know what I mean?
So that I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that you possess a particular capacity. You call all the brothers and sisters on the panel, because, like I say, you all have the ability to see further. And if you all are in close proximity to people you all can influence, some people may be affected by the ability, the capacity you all have to look at life in a different way and format. Now, suppose you all say F them. Some of my brothers would say F them on the panel. F the whole lot of them. You know what I mean? But I say that, you know, I think that we are in a situation that we have a greater responsibility, and I think that we should exercise our responsibility. You can't say F your people, bro. You can't say that.
No. There's a difference. Yes, put out the message. Do the work. Get out there and interact. But the idea that like when I was growing up, there was a fellow, I don't know if you know this fellow. There was a fellow named Boyo who used to be carrying on bad up there in Fox Hill. Are we supposed to? Boyo is knocking people eye out, right? Are we supposed to coddle this guy in hopes that he changes? Do the work, get the messaging out there, and if they get it, they get it. But if they don't get it, you got to treat them as people who just don't get it. We can't wait. Or I think the Malcolm. I'm just saying the Malcolm X example. I think comes up way too much, and it has us accepting way too much in hopes of some road to Damascus moment for these guys, and it's just not coming. It's just not coming with most of these folks. It's just not coming. But I digress. Tezzy had to step away. I guess that leaves us with Tan next, right? Tan, what say you?
Yeah, no. See, this is why we can't get ahead because of people like this. Look, it's not about, she's has problems and all of this stuff. Yeah, everyone has problems, issues, and all of problems in life and so on. We're all under collective umbrella, but somebody becomes a problem when not only if there's someone is a harm to themselves, there's still some kind of empathy you can give to people. So when you see people on the streets, I don't just assume that, oh, that person is there because something is wrong with them. You don't know what got people there and what happened to them. So I'm not saying that if you see somebody in a hard up situation, you should look down on them or anything like that. So in that regard, this woman, she not only has put, the lives of two men in danger, or I don't know how many days she was traveling with to Mexico for a flimsy, frivolous, stupid, silly excuse. If she was going there for some, life-saving surgery and she was so hard up, she could not afford it, the doctors here, all of that stuff, she's been given a few months to live and she just can't, and then those men are there, they're going into some place where they don't know, and the men are like, oh, sister, you can't go in there alone with your condition, let us go there and help you and so on. That would be a story. But you're going to Mexico to get a BBL, you're risking your life. We're talking about fear. You're talking about you're afraid of the police and the system and all this, but you're not afraid to go into Mexican gang territory to get a bat job. Like as I said, what are we talking about? Like, what kind of responsibility? If this is not any kind of accountability, responsibility, whatever, then what else is there? It's the system's fault that she had to go to Mexico to get a bigger bat. Like, what the hell? No, this woman is trouble, and everyone should avoid her at all costs. And then not only that, she comes back and then she puts her children's life in danger, which is even worse. Like, if you can just later, can she just take a moment to just grieve the two men that she the two deaths that happened? If she was really so hard up and sad and all of that, this woman should be in mourning. What was even the mourning period? Does she not care? Do we not care more about her dead comrade than she does? She's out there, fighting and doing all this stuff. Like, what the hell? At one point, we just have to say that, look, we feel bad for the children. I don't say that any child who's in a situation is to blame. I feel terrible for them. But if you're an adult and you're still doing these kinds of things at this time in your life, like, there's no hope for you. I'm sorry, there's no hope for you.
Y'all guys are coming dangerously close to say F my people because they're ignorant. Yeah, let me finish time. Hold on for a second.
You let her finish.
The people, I'm sorry for not letting you finish, Tan. But the people who died in Kenya, they were ignorant and they died because they listened to the words of a pastor. Should I say the hell with them because they was ignorant too as well?
And whose words did she listen to in this instance?
She listened to Americanism. Americanism told her that getting butt surgery, because it's another cult, But having butt surgery will make me look more beautiful. They listen to the Kenyan pastor who probably listen to some psychopath from northern countries who say, listen, the best path to get to heaven is to starve yourself. So for me, personally, I can't say F my people because they willfully ignorant. My job is to inform them, better inform them so they make better decisions for themselves.
Juana, Juana,
Mm.
what you heard what you called them just now? Willfully ignorant. No, I mean, come on. Listen. I'm all about spreading the message, and I think Trigger Happy between Trigger Happy and I think it was Jagan Mola who said it about Malcolm X. Like the thing about Malcolm X, he came from Gaviite parents. He had that foundation, right? We're talking about a lot of these people who don't even have this foundation, and they just ain't gonna get what we on. That's just a reality, and I had to come to that. It's D Web and some Oni and them who kind of made me realize this. It's like, yo, you will have a small percent of people who are willing. You're gonna have to work with the willing, and hopefully, to answer to respond to Trigger Happy's comment earlier in the chat, hopefully they begin to produce like Malcolm X did, and others. They begin to produce more more willing or willful people. That's the situation that we have. A lot of these people don't have the foundation. They're not gonna come here. They're not gonna come here and sit down and listen to this conversation. These conversations every Saturday night. They're just not gonna do it. You know what I mean? And so the time, the resources of time and energies. I'm sorry, you still put the message out there. If they pick it up, they pick it up. Great. But you can't really focus on that group. You got to get the willful, the people who have some foundation, who see some of the bullshit that's going on out here. Maybe they haven't read Chinwezu or but they understand there's something going on here. We need to be about this. And hopefully those people produce the next group of people. I'm sorry, who
let me jump in here. So
It was still my no.
okay, sorry, 10.
Go ahead, Tan. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm not excusing the cultists either. But I would say that with the Tezi saying with about religion and so on, religion and cults, that's a systemic and systematic control. What this woman does, yeah, she's under the influence of the media and all that, but still, that's a personal choice. When you get into religion or a culture, all those things, it's almost like you're giving up your your morality, to some extent to someone else. But this lady still made an active decision to go to. I'm not excusing the culture leaders. I'm just saying it's two different things. She still made a decision to put someone else's life in danger in full knowledge of it. She was not doing it for promised rewards in heaven. She was not doing it for some magical. She was simply doing it for her own vain ego. So and even with the cultists, yeah, there's some people who are just unfortunately it's sad and gone. It might be the situation, it might be who they are, but what you do with cults is you're not going to go in there and pluck them. You're going to deal with the ones who are willing to come out of it. If this lady said, I went to Mexico and this just opened my eyes and I realized that it was not worth it going down there and just trying to, get these things, and I should appreciate my life more, and I feel bad about what happened to, those men who lost their lives and placing myself in danger, and I should value my life more. Most people, when they have a near-death experience, they take some time. The cultists, they just had a death experience. She had a near-death experience. She came back from something that most people do not even people who live in that place, they don't ever come back from kidnappings. That's not a vacation. Most people disappear and they never come back. She came back partly because of the Americanness that she has. That American passport, black or white, is a privilege outside of America. It's a danger. It marks you out, but at the same time, it gets you out of tricky situations. So if she was any other, Mexican woman of, this would not be a story. But she's American, so she got that, and she came out. She was in the news. She got all this stuff, and then instead of taking some time to actually reflect and say, "Wow, that was something else," it was like, let's say, take the cult, comparison. If somebody survived the cult and then they came out and then they started starving themselves all over again, like that would be absolutely crazy. You can be.
Tan, I think to your point, I think these events happened before she went to Mexico, not after.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, one or the other, one should teach you something about the other. You should be able to learn from life's lessons, not just continue in the same path. So if she's somebody who is just used to getting into these chaotic situations, then, at least with a cult person, you can argue them out of it. How can you argue this woman out of a lifestyle or a way of living or a mentality? This is just who she is. So it's not to say that, you can't save everyone, but some people just don't want to be saved. And the cultists, at least they want to be saved, but unfortunately they look for salvation in the wrong place. But some people just don't want to be saved. So yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
so let me just jump in.
Only
sorry.
just keep it brief for me because I got to get to Azuli. Go ahead, Oni.
Okay, yeah. So I think there's a definite inconsistency. One, if we're trying to make a metric of a person being good because they're listening to Black consciousness or something, right? It's inconsistent in the sense of, we just defended that the young man who wasn't listening to any Black consciousness, and he, obviously a part of the problem is that he was killed on a train or something. But with this lady, one, she wasn't killed, but like the idea that like the narrative is that she got other people killed. She did not get other people killed. If anything, those people followed her voluntarily, and obviously it would have been the cartel that killed them. She didn't get them killed. So it just doesn't even make any sense why we're framing it in that way. And then also like when we say, oh, she should respond to a trauma in a certain way. Not everybody responds to trauma in the same way. But the main thing is that if we're going to condemn somebody for not behaving in an appropriate manner, and then we're going to somehow attach it to you deserve to die for not behaving in a certain manner, right? Then what is the outrage of the earlier story when at least with what's the outrage with the earlier story? Now obviously I am outraged with the earlier story, but I'm not also promoting this inconsistent narrative that, hey, you're a piece of shit and somebody should deal with you if you're not conscious per se, or you're not behaving according to the social stratum. But of course I'll limit my time.
I'm sorry. I'll let Razuli go, but I'm not sure when or who said that this woman deserved to die. I'm not sure why that was said, but
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, what is the point of this then? Because like she survives the encounter, so who cares what she does or what she did? She survived.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing was that she was nearly killed and she wasn't. So like, who cares if she doesn't behave in a certain characteristic norm? What does this have to do with anything? Unless it's related to the other people dying, who again, she didn't get killed. They voluntarily followed her for this butt job. It's not like they didn't know what it was.
I think, and I don't want to speak for Razuli, so I'll just keep it really brief. I think it's the perspective here. I think it's the perspective of, because of what she went down there for, what was in her orbit, right? These men who were in her orbit, 2 of them died. So I think in that sense, people will say the root cause of those 2 men dying is because she wanted to go to Mexico to get her ass job.
No, that's what I'm saying. Right? They wanted to go to Mexico to be with her. It's not like she brought them on gunpoint or something. Those men went there themselves.
I understand that, but most people will view that as she is, granted, the Mexicans killed the guys. We understand that. But why did they kill the guys? Why were the guys even there for them to be able to kill? It was because
they wanted to be, though. That's the whole point. Like at what point are we like what is the evidence that she coerced these men to come with her to Mexico? And that's another thing that's inconsistent. It's like we want to push the narrative of Black men should defend their sisters or what have you. And I'm not saying that a woman should go and do something silly, but if a man decides, hey, you know what, even if my lady wants to go do something silly, I'll go with her, right? Then that's on the guy. I mean, I'm not saying I personally would make that decision, but those men made that decision, and it might have cost them their lives. But why are you blaming her unless there's evidence that she coerced them to
Only,
follow
this
her.
is not a woman doing something silly like painting her nails green or something. This is a woman doing something dangerous. It's like
Then why did they follow her?
let's go to this hood territory where they just shoot people for no reason.
Exactly. And then where's the standard? Like, first off, we're automatically assuming these guys are the model citizens, right? We're assuming that. And
No,
then
we
two,
don't
it's
assume
like,
it, especially if they're around her. No, but
exactly. And then two, it's like, but they voluntarily went with her. They probably thought they were Badman Dandada. So if you're criticizing them, then why don't you criticize them? Why don't you criticize the men? But instead, it's framed as, oh man, these two good men were killed, or these two fathers were killed, and it's like, or these brothers and so. But like, where do you get in this mindset if this is not?
Any
But
man
I'm saying, if this lady is being condemned,
follow a woman
what I'm saying is the character of the lady is being condemned, but the character of the brothers is not, even though they literally heard her say, I'm going to Mexico to get a BBL, and they said, I'm going to follow you.
Well, she's not very clever, and neither are they. I'm not saying that any of them are clever. I'm just
So
saying,
then what's the story?
The story is this. This is the kinds of people that when the story comes out, instead of condemning women like this one for doing stupid things, people make her out to be some sort of a victim. Now, of course, we're not, making the people who shot her to be, they're good and all that. But she walked into a dangerous situation, and she contributed to this man's death. Nobody's saying that she killed them or anything like that. She contributed to the death. She took a risk that she had no reason to really take. All for
Okay, but look, earlier in the show, we had a gentleman walk onto a train full of soldiers and just a whole bunch of strangers and threatened to kill them, and then somebody killed him.
Okay, now you're talking about a whole different thing.
What I'm saying is that we were like, hey, man, that's outrageous. But then here you have a woman who really just goes over to another country to get a surgery, and it's like, oh, she's awful.
Into a situation.
Yeah, all right, I'm finished.
Yo, I put this thing up to say this.
Wait, hold on. Urzuli, let's not do stuff like that, man. That conversation, them two was gonna finish that like in 3 more words or something.
No, he wasn't, Goku. This nigga talking for 3 hours. Come on.
Don't just butt in like that, man. But go ahead, Urzuli. You have the floor.
Well, one thing I want to say, a man walking in a train station and kind of threatening people because he's hungry, getting food. You cannot compare that to a woman who has money and spend her money and goes down to a dangerous place to get a BBL. And the thing, while she's getting her BBL, the men follow her to get a BBL, and then they get murdered. My whole thing of putting this prop there is, this is what, like 2 or 3 episodes ago, people were defending these women. Oh no, we gotta protect our sisters. What society makes a woman think she could get? Let's bend the society. She had no what's the word Goku uses all the time? She had no agency. Thank you. No agency to do. Oh, pour her. Look what she did. She took her daughter, brought a gun to go ahead into a fight, which people could have been killed. Meaning to say that type of woman is always around some shit. And women like that or people like that should not be defended. Somebody who creates chaos everywhere she goes is part of chaos, whether it's a he or she, should not be defended. So I don't understand how we're comparing a man who at a desperate situation, who has mental issues technically, getting killed, compared to a woman who paid the ticket, drove with gas to go get a BBL that doesn't need to be done, and an area which is known for violence. So for somebody to say that, oh, I'm not saying that the episode we spoke about before, I told everybody those men wasn't shit for following her down there. They wasn't shit. They were dumb. Who does that? But at the end of the day, these men, I guess in their mind, were being macho. Let me go see to look after the girl, and then they got killed. I'm just saying, these type of people, like this woman, or it could be a man too, they are always around some shit. And people that don't deserve to be our protection under the umbrella of our protection. Somebody mentioned Malcolm X. Malcolm X didn't get killed. So If Malcolm X had gotten somebody killed, I would have said the same thing. Everything. If we didn't let Malcolm X grow, okay, Malcolm X didn't go around and people kill. Malcolm X didn't go, and if you listen to his autobiography, Malcolm X didn't go and start shit and beat up get his own family and do different stuff. At the end of the day, I put this post because this type of woman, this type of individual who's always around some shit should not be under the umbrella of protection until she changed her ways. That easily could have been 2 kids dead. And then I saw another video, which I'm going to post, where they say that lady and these are those couples were not as innocent as we think. So for people to be saying, oh, she's still our sister. What? She's still our sister. So that means there's nothing that like somebody mentioned the people from Kenya. At least the people of Kenya killed themselves. They didn't get other people killed. At least they were looking for something better, some salvation, some psychological, some spiritual salvation. All I'm saying is this lady right there, no accountability. She got with her own kids, brought a gun and all of that, and then 2 men get killed, which I agree with what Oni said. At the end of the day, the men went there, and like I said 2 episodes before, I shamed those men. So at the end of the day, certain people, how many times you get to mess up? 3, 4, 5 times?
Let me ask you this, Ozuli. Was she driving the car?
Was she driving what car?
The car in Mexico.
I don't know if she was driving the car. What do you mean?
Okay, well, whoever was driving the car got them killed. If you're going to blame any of them, because what happened was they got lost.
If she didn't get a BBL, if she went to the gym or stopped eating all that pork, would they be dead?
No, she's not the first person in the world to get a BBL. It's not like
that's not the
BBL is just normal at this point.
That's the simping shit you're doing. I'm asking you a question. If she didn't go get the BBL, would those people have been in that area?
If she didn't want to get a BBL, probably not. No,
it's not probably not. It's no, they wouldn't be there. So that's it.
Yeah, but what about it? But that's what I'm saying. But like we have to deal with. No, what I'm saying, we have to deal with the real world is that she was like, I want to get a BBL, and some dudes were like, sure, we'll go with you, and then they got lost in Mexico.
You're saying sure, like yeah, like. See,
all right. Do you have evidence that she coerced them?
I have evidence that they went to get a BBL.
Exactly. But then they got lost. They got lost.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
They got lost in gang territory. That's what got them killed.
You're still ignoring.
It's not.
Well, you know what? Exactly. That's why that's why there's no accountability in this shit. Everybody goes, what the fuck they want to do? But you see how you didn't want to give that brother who walked on the train the grace, but you want to give her grace.
Not about giving her grace. I'm just trying to understand what do you want from her? You want her to have died in Mexico? Like what?
What are you talking about? Did you not hear what I said? I said a woman like that does not deserve the protection.
But who's protecting her? Who is protecting her?
That's what I'm saying. No one is.
Bro, I'm not protecting her. You're not protecting her.
You're defending her. You're defending her right now.
How am I defending her?
Yes, you are defending her.
How?
It's funny how it's only a woman on this chat.
Those 2 guys were there.
It's only a girl on this chat. That's
exactly those 2 guys though.
Yeah.
Not us, not me.
But you just say that, if a woman wants to go and do a silly thing, then you go do it without.
No, I'm saying I wouldn't. No, I said if a woman's trying to do something silly, I wouldn't go help her. What are you talking about? Why would anybody
leave her unprotected?
Yeah, obviously if she's trying to do like the whole point of you being a man and a quote unquote leader is that you don't get misled. You have to take the role of protector. Being the protector means that you lead from the front. It doesn't mean that you lead from the back. You should, if a woman wants to do something silly, you say no. And then if she wants to go and do the silly thing on her own, you say, okay, go on your own. But if a man decides to say, you know what, this woman wants to bring me into trouble, right? That's on him. You know, like I could give you an example. I was one time at this bar with this woman with a nice body. I went to the bathroom, right? Some other dude was trying to hit on her, right? And I just watched pretty much. And like, if she wasn't, I just looked like I was about to leave. Because I was actually getting up a hotel, And if she was gonna stand around with the dude, I would have just left. I'm not gonna fight for this dude for this woman. You know, like I just met her.
Bro,
Like real talk. You're just not gonna do that.
You bring you every time you on the set, you bring your sexual. Who you advertising for? Nobody cares. Number, that's not the same thing, Oni. That is not the same thing. How is it you go into a bar, you with a woman, and another guy trying to talk to her, and did she put your life in danger? Did she tell you come fight?
But like,
me?
there's examples where women would put you like in danger in a situation, and you as a man have to say, "No, I'm not doing that shit." Or like for instance, the examples of when a woman says, "Oh, you can deal with somebody at my job," right? And then you go and say, "Okay, I'm gonna go encounter this guy at your job," and then like that happened a couple of times where a dude would go fight the work husband and get his ass kicked. It's like you're not supposed to do that. So the situation where a woman says, "Hey, I need somebody to drive me to go to Mexico to get a BBL," you as a man should say no. But there are some silly ass men who would say yes, and then then something will happen to them. But that's not on like a responsible man should tell her no and just not go. And if she goes with some other doofus or whatever, that's on that doofus. That's between her and that other guy.
So you're saying that lady played no part in those men getting murdered? She's scot-free.
Wait, so the so I'm of the view that the person who pulls the trigger is responsible for the murder. That's my view. Okay, that's my view. So if you're talking about was there something irresponsible done, again, she got lost in Mexico.
Would the men have been there without the BBL?
Without the BBL, but again, a BBL is just a normal medical, a necessary medical procedure.
Wait, yeah. Only before we continue, let me ask you this: you say that just the person who pulled the trigger. What about in the instances where, and this are, they are where women set men up? They tell a man be here at a certain time, and then some men rob him. She's innocent. She didn't pull the trigger. She didn't do anything. Is she still culpable?
You said who killed somebody?
Whole different storyline.
But also like
no. But saying for coming from the premise that she didn't do anything, she didn't do the shot, she didn't kill anybody, she wasn't driving, she didn't do anything. What I'm saying is this: that women are not necessarily going to pull the trigger. Even when women want their husbands killed, for example, they're not going to go. Most of them, they're not going to go there and kill him. They're going to go find some young man, tell him, "Oh, my husband is abusing me. Can you do something to him?" and so on and so forth. So yeah, of course, this woman, she knew that she was going into dangerous territory. She couldn't go.
No, again, they got lost. All right, so the narrative is that they got lost. So if it were the case that she was like, "I'm just going to drive into gang territory," that's different. But again, the narrative is that she got lost. Now, you can talk about people who are accessories to murders. It's not clear that she's an accessory to murder, that she intentionally, willfully said, "Hey, you guys, let's go into gang territory so that you can die."
What I'm saying is this: just because she did not pull the trigger does not mean that she is not culpable for the events that happened.
All right, so I'll give you an example. I'll give you the parallel.
Did she commit a crime?
I'll give you the parallel.
She didn't commit a crime. So what's the problem? She did. Whether you agree to BBL or not, she didn't commit a crime.
Exactly. I'll give you the parallel. So the parallel with regard to the train situation was that the white guy killed the black guy. The other guys and the other guys who were holding him down were not necessarily the murderers. Now you can make a claim for them being the accessory. You can make the claim for the guy in the train, doing something reckless, right? But the person who killed him would have been the white guy.
All right.
All right.
Can I? Hold on, brother. Let me just remind you guys that this show is part of a network. I'm not gonna play the spot, but it's KWAZ Radio.com. You guys check out the website, join the newsletter, etc., etc. Check out all the other shows. Subscribe if you haven't already. Buana, go ahead.
Yeah. So my position is that, the question I have is, does the panelists believe in this idea called reform? Okay, because just because you may think a particular way, in all your ignorance, That don't mean you can't change your position. I think that myself, I'll use myself. I used to be a 5-star degenerate, but maybe I'm a 1-star degenerate now. You know what I mean? I don't do the same things that I used to do back then. And I'm saying that with our people, there is a possibility for them to reform their actions. And I would hate to be judged off of something I may have done when I was in my 20s. Now, someone could say, well, what about the bodies? What about the people who were murdered? Yes, these people went there with this lady, but they also have agency as well. Why would you go? Why would you take 3 dudes with you to Mexico with this lady? If she, I mean, you don't have thoughts of your own to say, nah, I ain't getting with you. I ain't getting with you on this trip. It seems stupid to me. Why would I go with you? You know what I mean? So the onus is on this one girl who decides that she won't go to BBL, and she was able to convince 3 grown men to go with her. What happened to their opinions? They don't have thoughts of their own. I don't agree with that. So whatever they decided to do, the consequences of whatever would have happened to them, not only is supposed to be rest in her lap, but these are grown men themselves. And if this one woman was able to convince you to go drive around in a Mexico City, in a place you never been because you get lost, well, I don't completely blame her for that scenario because they have a brains of their own too.
You don't
But I
completely
believe that
you don't
no,
completely blame her,
absolutely,
but there's
absolutely not.
but that means that you do somewhat blame her.
Yeah, I mean, she could appeal to whatever emotion or whatever, but I mean, at the end of the day, they made the final decision within or among themselves to say, yeah, we gonna go too. So, and they grown men, they ain't children. And number two, like I say, I believe in this idea of what I call reform. So yes, she may be a degenerate person, but is there a possibility for her to change that position? And if there is a possibility for her to change that position for her being a whatever degeneracy she is in, to change her ideas of the world and how she look at the world, I can't throw in the garbage can. I can't
Okay,
do it.
Juana, you say you're a one-star degenerate now?
Well, I mean, I try my best, you know.
So let me, let me ask you a question. If you meet a woman who works in a whorehouse, you gonna marry her off the potential that she might be a nice housewife?
That's an unfair question, Koku. That's a real.
Why
That's
not
a real.
unfair?
That's a real snake question. That's a real snake question. Let me say this though. I'll say this. I'll say this. I would meet if I meet a woman, despite what her background is, because I really don't want to know. I really don't want to know. But if she is sincere, I can't judge a woman off of the body she may have had. Now, some brothers do it, but considering where I come from, you know what I mean? If that woman is sincere, I have to meet her where she is. If Because if I was to judge all the people or whatever women I have met based on the fact that they may have been degenerates, may have been degenerates. You know what I mean? That gonna cancel out a whole lot of opportunity because I may get into a continuity with a woman where she may give me a good life, you know what I mean, in dealing with her. But the fact that she had a horrible past, I can't judge her based off of that. I date women who sleep with some of them get in relationship with their daddies, incest kind of business. You know what I mean? Dealing with all kind of psychological issues. So
Pause.
Okay, can I say something?
that's real
Can
shit.
I say?
No,
Let me.
let me finish. Let me finish, and I'll let you go. Like I say, I try to meet women where they are. You know what I mean? If they are sincere, I judge them based on is point one. Now, some brothers can't let go of that. I try to judge women from where they are. Try my best to. Sometimes I may lose. Sometimes I may take the risk and I win. I'll leave it there and let Carl go.
Okay, I'm gonna make it real quick. So, whatever your thoughts are on cosmetic surgery, facelifts, breast implants, BBLs, whatever your thoughts on those, and you may agree with them, you may not agree with it. That's fine. This woman did something before this happened in Mexico. She did this fight, and she was dead ass wrong for that. I'm not excusing that. But again, I can walk and I can chew bubblegum at the same time. She was wrong. However, her going to Mexico to get a BBL, that was not her fault. Even though we may not agree with it, she didn't do it. She didn't break any laws. Okay, it's not illegal to go to Mexico to get a BBL. Was it dumb? Maybe, yeah. But she still should not have been kidnapped. Those people should not have been killed. The fault lies with the Mexicans and the Mexicans alone. Period. We have to stop blaming people when bad things happen to them in situations like this, especially black people. I don't understand why black people have to be absolutely perfect, make no mistakes. They have to make sure they go to church every Sunday. They got to have straight A's in school for us to support them and say this was wrong for them to happen to them. We're human beings. We can fuck up. I done fucked up plenty of times, believe it or not. But she's still a black person. She's still a human being. So yeah, she should. I don't maybe whether I agree with her cosmetic surgery or not, she still should not have been shot. And the Mexicans who did it were the people who did it who were wrong. They're responsible alone. Period. I don't understand why we're trying to assign guilt to this woman because she was in Mexico to get a BBL. That's her right. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's right, but hey, she did what she wanted to do. Okay? So then the Mexicans who attacked her are the ones who are at fault. Just like she's at fault for getting into that fight. That's some hood rat shit. She shouldn't have did that shit. But at the same time, black people aren't perfect people. There's no perfect victim, So let's just look at the facts as they are on the ground. I don't understand why we have to bring up this woman's past. Again, they do this every time something happens to a black person. They want to bring them what they happened. Oh, he got suspended from school for smoking weed. Oh, he beat his wife. Oh, she slept with 10 people in one night. There's just so many things that just, when you look at them on the surface, it's like, why even bring this up? This woman was kidnapped in Mexico. Shouldn't have been. She should have been left alone. Two people died that shouldn't have died. And the cartel turned those people over. So they understood who was at fault. Now, how did the cartel know who was wrong, or we don't know who was wrong? They recognized, hey, this should not have happened. So again, this woman, she's wrong for what she did, and she was still a victim of what happened in Mexico. I'm done.
Let me just jump here for a second.
Hold on, Carla. I respect what you're saying. I will say this though, because someone mentioned it might have been Jose who mentioned double talk or something earlier. I will say when we had the original conversation, one of the things that was brought up, and I believe it was Oni who brought it up, who said that listen, if you do a quick Google search of this area where they were going, you would know it's not a good area. It's a bad area, right? And so while I respect this idea that, these guys went along, which was dumb of them to do, and I want you guys who are listening to keep that in mind. Keep that in mind in your personal life. Since we understand as a panel that these guys were dumb for going along, we need to remember these things when these women want us to go along with other bullshit, right? But so that was mentioned. So the idea that she went to get a BBL really is not. It only becomes significant because of the event that took place. These guys died. They lost their lives. You know what I mean? They lost their lives for something. It wasn't because you went there because it's cheaper to get your teeth done. Like I'm not even talking cosmetic, but some real tooth problem, or you went there to get some eye surgery like I had yesterday, right? It wasn't that. It was something. It was a BBL, and that I think is the rubbing part. That's the part that just irks you. And because they were in her gravity, unfortunately, two of these dudes died, and then she shows herself in this story here, where it just doesn't seem like a very upright person. I think that's really the idea here. And why are we celebrating a person who's not upright? And as Juana is saying, is because we're trying to get. Hold on, guy, hold on. And like Juana says, like we trying to see past the present into some probability of a future. And I think we need to stop doing that stuff. We got to stop doing that stuff. We got to start We got to start taking people right now for what they are and build from that. That's my thing. Whoever wanted to speak, make it brief, and then we'll move on.
Let me say this really briefly. So I guess some tinfoil hats are saying that she might have been there for a drug trade, or the guys were there for a drug trade, right? And not a BBL. So if that were the case, then why are you blaming the woman? If the story is not really 100% that she was going for a BBL, but instead she and the dudes were going to make some ins with the gang, right?
Yeah,
And then the
that's
gang
all.
turned on her, right? Then why would you blame her?
Yeah, that's all they fault if that's the case.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like there's nothing about this story really says, "Oh, condemn this lady." Yes, she went for a BBL in Mexico, which is something everybody knows is a place where you can do a surgery there. I'm pretty sure we had a prompt earlier about, oh yeah, how many thousands of people go to Mexico for BBLs. What happens is they get lost in Mexico. Whoever's driving, whoever's phone doesn't work, whatever, and they end up in gang territory. Okay, and then if we're to believe that it's just about a BBL, because like Carl pointed out, she had receipts for BBL located somewhere in that area, right? So she's going to a legitimate doctor, allegedly, or possibly not. We don't know. But regardless, she went there. Her friends came along, and she ended up on the wrong side of town, and that ended it. And that ended the lives of these two other people. What are you blaming her for? Like, if the story is that, oh no, it was actually everybody was on the drug trade, right? Then I don't see why you're blaming her per se for the other men dying if they voluntarily went on a drug trade in somebody else's territory. However, if you're saying, hey, these people volunteered to go with their lady for a BBL because they supposed it was a dangerous area or something like that, like that's on them. Like at some point you have to say to yourself, it's like if a lady's like, hey, I really want to eat at this restaurant and it's in the worst part of town, right? That's on you as a man of just saying, nah, you know what? I'm good. Like for a long time, I heard growing here in Brooklyn that they shoot up clubs. I don't think I've even been to a club in the entire time I've been in Brooklyn, right? Like up to now, I haven't even been into a club. Why? Because the rumors are thing. Now I'm not saying that it's you suck if you go to a club and you get shot. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that if a woman drags you into a situation that you assessed was dangerous and you went there as her bodyguard, right? Of course you're not gonna that's what you signed up for that. Like that's what you signed up for. Like if you literally thought this was a dangerous thing to the point where she needed bodyguards, right? Then that's what happens to bodyguards. And I don't understand our sentiment that, hey, oh no, the bodyguard died. Yes, the bodyguard dies. That's what the bodyguard's there for. But what are you bodyguarding a BBL for?
All right.
Go ahead.
So that post shows a pattern of behavior that this woman has. It's like when you go freaking get a job, they ask you for your resume to show your pattern of what kind of worker you are. So for somebody to say, "Oh, that shit don't matter," this prompt shows you what type of person goes through this. And another thing, but we're not gonna say, "Oh, if a woman's thing don't matter." See, that's degenerate talk. I'm glad you're not a hypocrite. So I'm not a degenerate, so I could judge these hoes. You don't have to judge them. I'm gonna judge them. So you know what? I respect that you admit that you are what is it? A degenerate, so you don't judge because you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Me, I was never degenerate. So if you come with that degenerate behavior, I'm gonna meet you at that degenerate behavior. So for people to say, when you go get a job, they ask you for a resume. When you go get your insurance for your car, your insurance looks at your accident reports and all of that. So that post right there, that lady is always in some mess. And yes, I get it. The men, if they were real men, not real men, but whatever, should have been like, nah, we're not going to get your BBL. Save up your money and go get that shit in New York or go to the gym. But what I'm saying is this, for us to be protected, oh, she's our sister. Da, da, da. No, she's always in some shit. We're not doing that. That's all.
So
Juan, and then we gotta move on to
please, yes, please, why? So I hope one day I become, I guess, get my sainthood like Erzuli and become Saint Erzuli. But in terms of this particular thing, Coco, you made a statement. You say that, or you honor Erzuli. You say you have to meet people where they are. Okay, so 90% of the Caribbean is Christian, and 50% of Africa Christian, maybe, and I'm embellishing these numbers. 50% of Africa is Christian, 50% of Africa is Muslim. My brother Tezzy tonight say his theological person and his reference is Paul. So now I'm saying, if I can't see a man where he could possibly be in the future, his potential, given right information, give access to right knowledge and things of that nature, I must just leave it alone then. What is this whole idea of Pan-Africanism, Garveyism, and all this business? Because if our people going to just be stuck in Christianity and Islam, we might as well pack it up. What we doing here every Saturday night? If I can't.
But Buana, you missing, you skipped over a part of what I said too. Yes, meet people where they are, right? If these people are Christians and Muslim, you're going to meet them where they are, but that's not where you're going to stay. You're just going to meet them there like Sir Garvey did, right? Where Garvey talked about like Catholicism and all that kind of stuff, right? But the idea is to take them to something else if they're willing. And we can't get lost.
We agree that we agree. If you saying that, we agree. And I'm saying that the idea is to move our people from one place to the next place. Even though yes, they ignorant, yes, they smell bad, yes, they dirty, yes, they willful. The idea is to move our people from where they are to where they could potentially be. If I take the position, well, it is what it is. They are this, and we have to, cast them aside or whatever because they're degeneracy. They're going to continue to be degenerates. Forget about them. Then we might as well pack it up.
So you're gonna say the same. So you're gonna say the same thing to these gang members in Haiti who was doing that thing. They should give him the benefit of the doubt too. Are you saying that?
Azulia, may I? I'm always talking. I'm always talking Dutch, like you also are somewhere because I heard you were stuttering. But anyway, Buana, thank you. Why are we here, Buana? You invited me. You invited me to come because I had genuine thought. Right? I thought genuine.
And I'm glad you came.
And now I'm here, and we can get further than the Christianity is bad. Suppose I have had millions of these discussions with 13-year-old girls that thought that they were woke just because for pushing Christianity away, right? And then there's also this other group of isms, these other groups of religions called politics, right? We can't get further than the word socialism falls, and here comes all the isms, the Marxisms, the dit-isms, the dot-isms, but there's no Cabral-ism, and he was fighting along with Fidel Castro. Fidel Castro also helped Angola against South African aggression. That's not a discussion. No, it's those books that you read. That's the rule. It's not our African minds. No, it's those books that you guys read, right? The Americans taught me this is socialism, and then when the word socialism falls, then boom, the trigger goes off. Oh, Marxism, communism, dictatorship, the government must rule. Why can we not really think, wrap our heads around each other and not those fucking isms? Thank you.
You did us a disservice.
Let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 6. We're gonna end at 2. I'm gonna have to say something again about this stuff. But listen, guys, this chats back and forth, whatever it is, trolling or whatever. We gotta cut that out, man. I honestly think, and by the way, I'm not on YouTube right now. I'm in StreamYard, so I can't moderate the chat from where I am, right? But I honestly believe this thing is starting to cause whatever little viewership I had that was starting to go up, it's starting to drop again. And I think it might have something to do with this back and forth in the chat. A few people reached out to me a couple weeks ago saying the chat thing is kind of ridiculous now. And, you know, we don't want those distractions, man. Let's just, and I understand if you feel attacked, you're going to eventually respond and vice versa. I get. But
So I need to talk about it with somebody. I need to talk about it with somebody because I came back in the show, but I fell off because my phone battery was and I said let it go. But I have here a little notepad with a few I jumped in because Buana mentioned it, but I have here a little notepad with things that are called trolling, but it has content. Right, but when the content is called trolling, and we're defending this. I'm sorry, I'm going to use terms. This hollow wokeness, you know, if that's going to be defended against substance, yeah, then at a certain moment, yeah, there comes a little trollish tone into it. But I keep dropping substance. Something that somebody could react on instead of going into defense like, hey, trolling and this, you know, there's you know, yeah. Now I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. There's a girl on the panel, and it's very annoying. I had a beef with him.
Koku, you have to freaking moderate this shit. Come on. Like you just sit back and let this guy just say anything.
Only the guy just said just now.
I know, but like, just tell him to shut the fuck up.
The guy
like you just let him, dude. I know, but I'm just saying it's just endless. It's like freaking 5 hours already. Like how much? Like I'm telling you, like come on.
No, it's not about
again. I said nothing, so you know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, come on,
Goku, a success.
I mean, like shit. Like, what am I like? What?
Yeah, I don't know if Jose fell off or something.
It's just endless. Like, damn.
Zuliism seems to have fallen off now too, I think. Anyway, let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 6.